Hey, good afternoon, guys. This is Samir, going to be bringing you the update in regards to the market. So let's get started. So it looks like we definitely have some red calendar events going into this week. We got CPI on Tuesday, followed by PPI on Thursday. Those are going to be definitely big market moving events. We did have President Trump speaking earlier today. This was most likely in regards to the tariffs on the semiconductors, mostly for AMD and NVIDIA, the 15% tariffs or essentially sales tax on them. We're going to be getting core retail sales month over month and retail sales month over month for the Friday. Again, very big calendar week. In terms of earnings, we have some pretty nice names going into this week. We do see Plug Power coming in after close for today. We have GoPro as well. I'm kind of looking into ASTS. They are a startup, but it looks like they've been kind of making some progress for sure in the space exploration field. We got Oklo as well, Big Bear AI on my list. Again, it's a pretty big week. We got SanDisk on Thursday after close, just with the whole AI bubble right now. Regardless of what's going on, you still do need those solid state drives. You do need those hardwares to read and write data and store your data as well. Regardless of if it's in the cloud or not, you definitely need some form of a disk to store said data. So I'm going to be on the lookout for SanDisk in their earnings call and see kind of what they are going to be mentioning moving forward as guidance. Now, overall market is been pretty red throughout the day. We do have a squeeze on the hourly time frame and on the daily time frame. I think we're going to be chopping around here from my this is entirely my opinion, but from my perspective, I do think we're going to be kind of chopping around throughout the remainder of maybe August, September. This time of year tends to be where things kind of go sideways and consolidate. We had a really sizable move throughout this year, and I think at this point we're just kind of letting the market kind of digest that said move. We are waiting for whether the Fed cuts or not in September. We're going to take a look at each individual stock real quick in terms of just the Mag7 to see what's going on. NVIDIA opened green and is closing pretty strong. It is moving sideways. We have earnings coming up here by the end of this month. Earnings, NVIDIA has hit every single earning for a very long time. I don't think they've missed in the last 8 to 10 earnings. So they've been pretty consistent. Really don't see anything out of the blue. Probably will mention the transaction in terms of being able to sell to China. Pretty sure it's not the Blackwell chips. I'm pretty sure it's just the H20. So that is something. Tesla has been moving. It has been breaking out. It's been, let's clear this up. It's been in a range for quite some time. We had that after the sell-off. I guess it was more of like a correction. It was kind of because of the tariffs. Since then, it had this technical bounce, recovered about 50% if we were to look at it from the fib levels. Covered about 61.8, hit that 61.8 hard stop, rejected off of it. Since then, we've been kind of consolidating and forming some form of a contraction of price. Usually when this happens, it indicates price is reaching an equilibrium, at which point some form of fundamental or usually fundamental or geopolitical will move it. And in this regard, they have been rolling out with the robo-taxis. Optimus has been getting a lot of attention in the news as well. The self-driving program has been taking off for sure. Been kind of checking it out on X. It looks pretty cool. Microsoft has it just blew earnings out of the water. Since then, it just skyrocketed, about 10% move up after implied move after that earnings beat. Since then, it was a bit of a kind of selling off. Not really. It's just been kind of digesting that move. And we are finding this kind of equilibrium here, price acceptance at this level. We're finally getting a green day here. I kind of marked this level to see if it fills, if price doesn't fit, in fact fill this level here, if we start seeing some kind of a bounce or acceptance. They've been very solid, so I don't really see any reason as to be kind of worried about that move. Now Apple, again, kind of similar with Tesla, gonna be kind of, it was affected by the tariffs more so than other companies, just because they are providing hardware rather than just software. With that said, kind of similar story with Tesla in regards to the price action, where we can see it kind of reaching a point of equilibrium, where prices starting to contract. It's not as volatile with the range, and if I'm not mistaken, earnings was pretty good. They had a meeting recently where CEO Tim Cook met with President Trump, and they did announce pretty big deal. They're going to be doing screens and investing over $500 billion in the United States, which is incredible if you think about it. And and I'm pretty sure tariffs, since they are moving some of their production to India, has been exempt. So the tariffs that were supposed to be in place, about 25-50% tariffs on Apple, will no longer be affecting Apple. So that's very good news. So I'm very bullish on Apple. I mean, I kind of always have been. It's just one of those mature tech companies that really do well. It was hit pretty hard with the tariffs, but I think moving forward, we can see a lot more positive price action and activity coming up from Apple. And Google, man, Google. If there was a company to buy and hold, it'd definitely be Google. Their PE is so low. They finally broke through that 200 range, which is pretty cool. I've been watching Google for some time. They did a really good correction. Their price action, as far as price action is concerned, is just very steady, very methodical, very steady, something that is very consistent. You don't really have to kind of look at too frequently. One thing to note, two things to note. One of the biggest things with Google was people were afraid that search, they're going to lose a lot of ad revenue via search because of the chat GPTs, the LLMs, kind of that whole ad block, circumvents the whole ad block functionality that you find in search. In their last earnings, they did mention that is not the case, which is very bullish. Another thing is they're scaling their cloud very well, very competitive space between Microsoft, Amazon, and Google. They're faring very well there. And one last thing is they are under scrutiny with the DOJ. So once that does clear up, I definitely do see Google coming out of that and probably being one of the stronger companies. Again, their PE ratio is maybe in the high teens, low 20s. So it's definitely, in my opinion, one of the undervalued companies out there. And Meta did really well with earnings. They are expanding their data centers. Now, one thing to note with Meta, I think they have been kind of going through their free cash flow, or they've been investing heavily, which all of them have been. But I think they are looking for private lending for their data centers. So that is something you kind of want to keep an eye out for in terms of this AI bubble that we're in, where we got to make sure, with their money that they're investing, they are getting a return on said investment. But nonetheless, Meta did a very good job with earnings. They are expanding. They're one of NVIDIA's biggest buyers, and NVIDIA is one of their biggest suppliers. So used a few of their models before, their LLM models, the Llama model, and it's pretty good. And Amazon, we saw Amazon. They did really well in earnings. Guidance was okay. I think they, in terms of AWS, their cloud was not. it's kind of losing traction between the three, but it's nothing to necessarily write home about. They really beat earnings out of the water. I think expectations were kind of spot on there. From that, it did experience a bit of a correction. If we look, let me delete that for a second. If we look at after earnings, we see that it kind of dropped 10%. Now, when you get to that 8 to 10% range, that's kind of a bit of a correction. And my reasoning was, okay, well, we just saw a correction in Amazon. Let's buy the dip and let's ride it out, because in terms of earnings, everything looks great. Super bullish. There was a bit of selling, insider selling. I think it was Jeff Bezos selling, but again, nothing to write home about. He has a lot of shares, nothing wrong with offloading. But as far as future perspectives go, one of the biggest in terms of logistical infrastructure, if you were to think about it, one of the biggest in e-commerce. They do a lot of robotics within their warehousing, and that's only going to continue. So I definitely do think Amazon is, and of course their cloud suite has been scaling up, especially with that Perplexity AI. So it's not necessarily anything I'd be worried about. It was just a correction that occurred, and it'll probably just keep chopping along, grinding higher. Now, one last thing I kind of wanted to take a look at. This is just a personal pick. UNH has been getting a lot of attention everywhere on social media, where I've been looking, and yeah, I mean, look, this doesn't look good. If you were to buy this, like where you kind of had this around 600, 630, like wow, like this is a massive drop. But if you're a new money buyer here, this is a pristine company to look into. Yeah, I understand that they are being investigated at this moment, but look, UNH is one of the biggest companies out there. They're one of the biggest employers out there as well. They have a very, very strong moat in the healthcare sector. This is, in my opinion, like a generational buy, a once-in-a-lifetime kind of buy. Again, this isn't financial advice. It experienced a very steep sell-off, 60% correction. One can argue this was distribution up here. I just took a bit of time, but with the rate at which this declined, I would not rule out a potential technical bounce, maybe to the 50% retracement around 427, where we might see some more offloading. Now again, this is a generational buy, so I'm not sitting here saying, hey, let's buy this, and then 2 months from now you're gonna get a return on your investment. No. I'm saying, hey, let's buy this, and we're gonna have to hold this for a few years, maybe 2, maybe 5, maybe 10, but this will generate you wealth long term. So I kind of wanted to just bring that up real quick, because I've been seeing like a lot of attention for it, and I kind of have been getting into this at this level right here, this supply zone, because I think this is a very strong level here. And when you look at the financials of it, it's very, very good, tried and true company, and I, in my opinion, don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. Alright, well, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please let me know what you liked, what you didn't like. Drop a like, leave a comment. Thanks.